Okay, starting out the program with a little Chopin. Opus 64, number 2 in C minor, I believe. Is that right? And so it'll all make sense in about 30 seconds. I got a presentation I'm going to try to do under 10 minutes. Let's see if we can do it. This is episode 1 of the human algorithm. I'll shut up and let's get started. Okay, so this is the rotting Rothschild mansion. It's a viral video that I did, I don't know, 12, 13 years ago. So I'm in Paris at this time. I'm running a crew. I'm on a crew of expats that are in bâtiment, renovating, finding property. And so it's this really interesting time, and people are like, oh my God, we heard about you. You really exist. So I'm using all of my skills to bring this company and this awesome team to the next level. So this is, really early on. Where's my picture coming up? That's my photo right there. Let's give a hand clap for my photo. And so the point is, even though we're in the construction business, I know that the name Rothschild has a lot of keyword just linkage to it, with the whole conspiracy thing and all of that craziness. So I use this Rothschild decaying mansion as a way to talk about this period in history. The Rothschilds never returned to their home, which has been left to rot, crumble, and deteriorate. This once palatial estate was built to reflect the Rothschilds' wealth and power. So even though we're that wealthy and power, they couldn't stop the Germans, from making them flee. So it had beautiful indoor frescoes by Eugene Lemmy. Over 8 years, James Rothschild and his wife Betty hosted the most lavish parties at the time within these walls. Guests would include artists like Rossini, Chopin, Delacroix, as well as the who's of the financial and political world. Chopin even dedicated his valise open number 64 in C sharp minor to their daughter Charlotte. All right, come on. So I'll shut up. What you're listening to right now was played in this formerly lavish mansion, this rotting mansion. Heard this song. It was dedicated to the daughters of the Charlotte of the Rothschild. So it would be impossible to imagine that the Chateau de Rothschild would be doomed to become a playground for vermin graffiti artists and vandals. And so this got, let's see, I'm in the no cookie mode here. It got like 350,000 views, and it was like, oh my God. And so my point is, even though we're in the building trade and the property, searching for property sector, this video had a story that told itself. Here's Delacroix. Okay? So, the artist who painted this and the musician who composed what you hear was in that mansion. And that story would get people to just be completely enamored with the video, and then they would go to the video, and then so we'll get off of this here. We'll go to here. Okay, so that's me right up there, right? 350 or whatever it is, 1,000 years, many years ago. And so let me get into the presentation, and this should hopefully all make sense. There we go. All right, let's give it up. Episode 1, the era of intelligent storytelling. Executives don't need more data, they need meaning. Okay, so into data fatigue, 2025, we're all overloaded. Dashboard analytics reports. More data does not equal better decisions. Okay, so that's the takeaway here. More data, as you know, as an analyst or a technical person, you're wrapped up in the data. But when you're trying to get your point across, when you're trying to make something happen, more data is not your friend. So the world's best insights don't need to inform, they need to move people. Storytelling turns analytics into emotion. That viral rotting Rothschild mansion proved that historical and visual storytelling can humanize complex ideas, can humanize what you're doing as a business person, right? So the person that wants the property renovated, the person that wants to look for property, they see that video and they see people who are well versed in history and in architecture, and even though it's not a literal analytical type of presentation. Okay, where are we? So how do you get this done? What's the strategy? You need a pipeline. You need a cadence. Not necessarily like a a, a hard deadline. What are you doing, right? So you decide what it is that you want to create. Back in the day, I was creating blog posts, videos. TikTok wasn't there yet, Instagram wasn't there yet, so it was just it was kind of like YouTube and WordPress. And so, I would try to take what was happening in terms of what we're doing as far as finding property or renovating apartments, and then work that into the content. And so where are we? So as a video content strategy, you get a cadence going, so you're getting in the photos, the scripts, the interviews, you're setting things up, and that's getting into the atelier, that's getting into the workshop. And then you decide what's going to be the output. Executive explainers, 3-minute insight capsules, maybe interviews, so on and so forth. What format? 16:9, 9:16, CapCut, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, so on and so forth. But over the whole cadence, over the whole initiative, every frame should say, "We understand your world." All right. And so basically, you're working with three levels: a personal level, a professional level, and a cultural level. Like with that Rothschild video, I knew there was like something cool on a personal level because I love all of that, moon landing and all that conspiracy stuff. It's a lot of fun for me personally. But I know I can't put that Rothschild, that part of the Rothschild thing, that conspiracy part, into the professional presentation, right? But I knew it like had link juice to it. So I used the Rothschild rotting mansion as sort of a bridge between that crazy, the fact that the Rothschild name has this sort of other connotation to it, brought in the architectural part of it, the fact that it was dilapidated, the fact that we were in renovation, the fact that we were looking for property, right? Then put the story on top of it, right? And so that's a perfect example of You got your personal sort of way that you see the world. You have a professional objective to speak to, and then you have a culture that you're targeting. So we were Americans in Paris looking to target Americans who were coming to Paris to make investments and to renovate their apartments or their homes. And so with that framework, right? You understand you have a personal perspective, you understand you have a professional responsibility, and then you understand the culture, the sort of um, the framework in which you're going to create the content. Okay, so I hope I have this ready. I think I got it ready. We'll see. Example placeholders. Okay, so as you're doing you've got your cadence going, you're moving things through to get things output rendered and ready for publication. So sometimes you want something sort of somewhat generic so you can put different text on it to get what you want said. So if I'm going to say something about the Grand Prix Express, so Paris is doing this incredible rework of the metro. So within the next year or so, there's going to be a high-speed rail from Charles de Gaulle to La Défense to Paris. It's going to be like 20 minutes, and then from Paris to Orly, like 15 minutes. So it's going to completely transform traveling from the airport to these and it's like Paris is trying to make itself the financial capital of Europe with this Grand Prix Express, right? So without saying any of that, right? Let's see if I have it here. Yes, here it is. So remember that placeholder here, right? So here's just a static image. I'm saying, okay, I want something cool that I can put words and ideas on top of it about the Grand Prix Express. And I want to talk to my peeps in Chicago and my peeps in Paris and say, hey man, check this out. Let's, Chicago's a financial center. Paris is positioning to be a bigger impact in Europe. And so I put this together. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Voilà, le Grand Paris Express. Charles de Gaulle, La Défense, 20 minutes. Voilà. Sweet Home Chicago. Allez, à Paris. Ah oui. So you see that I'm not, if you're as a creative person, right? So you want to make some Paris Chicago connection, you'd have the music would be something like a Chicago blues done with an accordion or whatnot. But the objective is not to ego trip at how inventive I am as a musician, right? The purpose is to create a placeholder which is multifaceted, that I can put whatever text that I want on top of it to say what I want. So the text can change, but the placeholder says fun. We'll look at it again. The placeholder says fun. It says Chicago. It says Paris. Voilà. Paris. Charles de Gaulle. La Défense, 20 minutes. C'est très gentil, non? Allez. Sweet Home Paris, Sweet Home Chicago. So, anyways, back to the presentation. How am I doing at time? It's 15 minutes already. All right. So I will try to end this quick. can't seem to keep these under 10 minutes. So, emotional close, right? Insight becomes influence. That's the whole point of what that's how you want to close um, uh, your media, whatever it is, your video, your text, whatever it is you want to do, and you don't want to lead with the data, or maybe you can begin with the data, but you want to close with the emotion. When we give data a face and a heartbeat, it becomes influence. The future of storytelling isn't about more information; it's about more connection, and that's what we call the human algorithm. Can I get an anchor where creativity meets intelligence? Okay, so 3 guiding questions for your next story. What does your data feel like, right? What does your data feel like? When I was asking that question, I was creating data. I was creating, excuse me, creating videos that was independent of the, you know, Paris back then. I don't know what it is now. Was generally between 10 to 25 meters squared, right? 10 to 25 euros mètre carré. There's all kinds of numbers and all kinds of data that you could talk about to show how much of a expert you are. There's no emotion at that. Everybody's an expert. Anybody can regurgitate data. But when you have a story that is empowering, a story that you find fascinating, it is just so much more powerful. All right. What does your data feel like? Who is it for? What change do you want to spark? So that's it. I apologize. I went for 10 minutes, ended up with 17. Thank you for joining episode 1 of the Human Algorithm series. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. All right. Take care. Au revoir.